I'm here today with Emily Marquez-Dulin, the Executive Director of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society in Southern Florida and Puerto Rico, and also Monica Alvarado, a acute myelogenous leukemia survivor. And I'm going to talk to them a little bit today about Leukemia and Lymphoma Society and what it does. So first of all, let's start with what exactly a blood cancer is.
So blood cancers are specifically those cancers that affect the blood system or the lymphatic system. Their characteristic is the fact that they're non-preventable and there's no way to detect them early on. Just to put it in perspective, every 4 minutes a new person is diagnosed with a blood cancer, and every 10 minutes somebody dies from them. As a group, they're the third largest cancers that exist. They follow lung cancer and gastrointestinal cancers. So when I talk about the fact that they're not preventable, that's what makes them unique, and that's really what we need to talk about, is how important it is for people to be aware of their body, of any anomaly that occurs, so that they can then contact their doctor.
And so how does the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society work to kind of raise that awareness in people?
Well, obviously we work day in, day out with those who have been recently diagnosed and their families. It's important that they serve as ambassadors for the cause so that they can talk to others, but it's also important that we provide both information and emotional support. We also educate physicians, nurses, and social workers as to the latest information available on blood cancers. And we do things like what you and I are doing today. We talk about it. We do these diffusion of information type sessions with the media, which I think are very, very helpful. And a fourth part is that we have a public service campaign that is running across the country. It says "Someday is today," which really speaks to the fact that there is hope around the corner. We are going to find a cure, and it's going to be closer and sooner than we ever thought it would be. You'll see billboards, you'll see public service announcements on radio, public service announcements on television, you'll see it in print. So hopefully all those four things combined will truly help create awareness for leukemia, lymphomas, and the other blood cancers, because there's actually four of them that we talk about.
And so how does the LLS work in that process of finding a cure and educating doctors? How does the LLS do that?
How do we do that?
Yep.
Well, the most important part of what we do, as I said, is finding the cure. And we do that through research. We fund research across the United States and all over the world. We look for the best researchers that are working today on the blood cancers, and they're funded by us. And we educate our doctors by providing them with the latest information. We serve as a vehicle between the research and then what they're doing. So then that way they can talk to their patients adequately.
And now with this being in the Southern Florida, Puerto Rico region, you obviously have a lot of Hispanics in that region. What are some of the unique needs and issues that come up with Hispanics and blood cancers?
Well, I think it's important to say that leukemias have a higher incidence among the Hispanic population. We don't know the cause, but when we look at the data, we know that we as an ethnic group have a higher incidence of leukemia. Also, what is needed is the fact that we need to make information available in Spanish. And we do that through our website. We have a Spanish language website. It is www.lls.org/español. We also have a group of people that work in our information center who speak Spanish, and they're there to answer any question. The number to call is 1-800-955-4572. Or simply connect with your local chapter. There are 61 chapters across the United States, and there's people in those chapters that can always help you. Just connect to your right chapter.
Thank you. And Monica, on a little more personal level, can you share a little bit about your story?
Most certainly. March 9th, 2004, I was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia. It's a very aggressive type of leukemia. I started showing bruises in the inside of my arms and legs, and which would not go away. So I visited my regular doctor for some blood work to see what was happening. The next day he called, telling me that the results were not good and that I needed to see a hematologist oncologist, which I did on the same day. And that same day I was given the diagnosis. It obviously devastating. I never knew that I had this disease until I had it. And I thought I was going to die. My doctor reassured me that it wouldn't, because I needed to get treatment right away. I felt a rejection towards this disease. I did not want to have it in my system. So we started the chemo treatment that same day, and 2 months later, I was in remission. But I had, the doctor said that I would most likely relapse within a year because it was aggressive, the type that I had. So he recommended that I had a bone marrow transplant. So my sister and my brother were tested to be positive donors. My brother, fortunately, became my donor, being 100% compatible, and it saved my life. A month later, a friend told me about the Leukemia Society, and I contacted them, and they were extremely helpful, guiding me and my family through the process, to understanding what we were going through, and learn, educate us about the disease, which they did. They did an amazing job. They helped us go to support groups so that we would meet with other people who were going through the same situation, and how you could survive it. So I had a very positive attitude. I needed to get rid of this disease, and I just fought hard, and I did it. And I'm here cancer-free 10 years later.
And that is great to hear. And so, having gone through the journey yourself, what are some things, words of advice or comfort that you would give to somebody who has recently been diagnosed?
I would tell them to educate themselves. Leukemia Society, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is a great source. They will guide them. They're very good at it. I will encourage them to be responsible with their treatment. Follow your doctor's orders. Be positive, because cancer is not a death sentence, is a challenge, and which we can take and do it. That's how I did it.
And what about people that maybe know someone who's been diagnosed, not necessarily a family member, but a friend? What are some ways that they can support people that have been diagnosed with leukemia or lymphoma?
By contacting the Leukemia Society is a great way to do it. Making donations to cancer research through the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. That's what I would recommend.
All right. Thank you, ladies, both very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.